The topic for today is balancing being an entrepreneur and handling the needs of your business with being a parent and the needs of your family.
Okay.
Right. So start by talking about what it is your business is.
It's called Liquid Pixels Design Group. We call it LickPix. We develop brands for entrepreneurs, brand identities for entrepreneurs, messaging, imagery, all of that. And then on the corporate side, we do corporate communications, retail communications, whether it's, from business to customer, or sometimes it's just internal communications within that business. We do a lot of that as well.
Yeah. As transparent as candid these conversations get, I feel the need to call out the fact that you said we.
Because I feel like there are three of me, at least 3 to 4 of me per day.
Right. This is a key thing, because the business is at the phase, you're 14 years in, the business has, we've lapped the necessity for growth in terms of more staff and people, right? Now we hit the mark where it was needed, and then we've gone around the track again, maybe twice more, and we're back at it again, right?
Probably twice more.
Right, exactly. But now we're to the point where, you're so recognized by your key clients of what you do that they're saying, look, we have whole other departments that we want to send you work for. They're telling you, Jamie, look, I'm going to take my pen and reach around the table and I'm going to sign a check. I want you to go hire some people so we can give you the work. Talk about that.
I absolutely love it. That's great. The problem is I have a difficult time trusting people. I think I've developed this brand accidentally. Over the years, where I am a person in a business who's always happy to help. Whatever you need, I'm happy to do it. So over the years, I have, in my mind, believed that everybody was that. Isn't that who you need to be as a business? I have always believed that you treat people the way that you want to be treated. So, I'm that person. I'm going to respond to you as soon as I can. I'm going to do whatever I can to make you happy. And so it's difficult to find people that are going to represent your brand the way that you want them to. I am, unfortunately, a control freak. So it is difficult for me to, hand over projects and feel like and have this security that you're going to do exactly what I would do. And I think
that's not going to happen.
Yeah, my biggest issue is that I'm looking for 3 or 4 other me's, period. That's
right.
a problem.
And so in our conversations about that, I think that because I've been doing, especially in the last couple years, I've been doing a lot of work with small businesses and watching them grow from the tech side. My perspective has been protect the area that you absolutely cannot let go of, right? Which for you is the relationship between you and your customer, the direct link, and work really hard to figure out those areas where you can duplicate yourself without giving up the critical piece. So I think you need more service people help you on the services side, meaning, design.
Right.
And also on the admin side, bookkeeper, all that kind of stuff, because a lot of the stuff you're handling now via apps, technology, and things like that.
It's a lot.
Letting go of the control of those areas of your business would allow you to put a multiplier on the rewards you get for the same amount of time or for less time.
I totally agree. I'm a person who needs to get out of my own way and, in my mind, take that leap of trust. The problem is if I've taken it, or I have taken it in the past, and there are times when you hand over a project, and I'm sure a lot of people or entrepreneurs have done this, where you feel like, I'm going to hand this project over to you and I'm going to check in on it every once in a while. And then, closer to the deadline, I check in and it's either I don't hear back or they haven't done enough of the work. And I'm like, I end up taking it back myself. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I could have done this myself. I could have done this myself faster. So
I hear you and I see you that way. And this comes down to one of the themes of our relationship. You have historically had this A or Z only mentality on things, right? And so like when you're saying turn over a project to someone, it's like, I'm going to give you the whole thing or I'm going to give you nothing. And that approach only plants the seeds in my mind for disappointment, when like maybe the more aligned method of doing it is, I'm going to hand over the parts of every project that I know I can hand over, and I'm going to keep the parts that I need to keep. What do you think of that?
I think that when it comes to the projects that I'm typically working on, it is, I'm going to hand it to you or I'm going to keep it. You know, we could, collaborate, right? But in my mind, and I could be wrong, but in my mind, if I'm collaborating, then I'm spending time on it. And if I'm spending time on it, I might as well be doing it myself.
Well, okay. The difference there is that in that method, with, as you know, full-time plus that you work, right? That nets you, let's say, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars revenue. But how do you get to the millions of dollars of revenue? In my mind, is you create a way of working underneath your guidance with your taste and your oversight that allows you to serve more customers or the same amount of customers for more revenue and deeper. And so when we talk about, like, do you want to spend time, you always bring up, for some reason you bring up the Bahamas. And I don't know why the Bahamas is like always the Bahamas.
Because I always see crystal clear water in the Bahamas and I'm just trying to get there. I just want to be laying on the beach there.
Any sensible person would know that you would go to Barbados or Hawaii. But I mean, that's here nor there.
I was going to say the travel time is so much shorter to the Bahamas from here than it is to Barbados or Hawaii.
Yeah, whatever.
Just saying.
Okay. So the point is, if you're going to spend more time doing that stuff, then you've got to have systems and people that work your system that allow you to go there. And you can't get there working 80 hours a week for, like, it's like, I always compare it to driving. If you're driving a manual transmission, you're driving in first gear for far too much of the trip.
Yeah. First of all, I'm not trying to always be vacationing. And I know you didn't say that. Sometimes I just want to tap out. But when I tap out, I want to tap all the way out. I don't want to have to look at my phone and see that I'm getting emails or I need to get something done. I want to be able to just completely unplug, and just right now it's just not possible because of, one, the amount of work that I have, which I'm always grateful for, and just the way that I stay in this first gear system. So it's no one's fault but my own. I need to get past myself in order to grow.
Yeah. So a couple things that we need is to identify roles that are mission critical, that you must, in order to satisfy your own personality and mindset, must stay in. What roles in your business you must stay in. What roles should have been outsourced years ago, right? Like, we have accounting, but we don't have, we do the bookkeeping here instead of, having the accountant do that. And other things like that. And then what are the scalable roles? Like, what are the roles that you're actively doing? Like right now, right before this discussion, you're working on a website. And you're not the end all be all person who could work on websites.
True.
Right? You do have a style and a taste that's trusted, and you know what you want to see, but it's something that doesn't have to be your eyes and your hands until it reaches a certain point. Like, it doesn't have to come from zero to you. You can get it at 80% and make sure you give feedback and carry it over the line. And if you could spend your time doing that 20% instead of 100% of the roles that are needed, then you could serve more people or serve your existing clients more deeply. And you'd be more profitable with more time to yourself.
I totally agree with
that. This is a great conversation, number one, because as all these conversations have been, they're natural and they're really the open issues. What I wanted to also make sure, and what I intended to be this conversation was about, is, given the way that you work, how do you see your ability and your success in managing family time versus entrepreneur time?
I feel like, and it could be totally biased, I feel like I've done a good job because I feel like I always make time to be there. Sometimes they don't want you there, but I always make time to be there. Whether it's practice or games, going away, family time, whatever. I don't always have the time, but what I'll do is I'll stop what I'm working on to make time, and then I end up going back to it. So when you think about it that way, you are failing somewhere, right? Like, if you are working at 10 o'clock at night and then 11 and 12, then if you're not failing with your kids, then you're failing with your husband. Like, there's always some place that you're not hitting 100%. I find that the older the kids get, the more I have time to work. When they were younger, there were definitely times in the middle of the day, like the kids would come home, and in one of our conversations, we were talking about how Amir would come home and I would help him with his homework. That would require me stopping everything that I'm doing and going and pulling up his homework, and him and I sitting there for 2, sometimes 3 to 4 hours to get through his homework. And then it would be like 7 o'clock. Okay, now it's time for me to make dinner. And then after dinner is done, no, I don't have time to clean the kitchen. Now I have to get back to work, because I'm not a 9 to 5. I am a work till these things get done. So that could be 11, 12 o'clock at night, or a Saturday or a Sunday. So it just helps that as they get older, they don't require as much of your time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so talk
Did
about...
I answer that question?
You did. You addressed it. And I'm going to leave out the fact that it kind of paints me into what the hell were you doing while dinner was required?
Well, no. Sometimes you absolutely made dinner, or there were definitely times where I needed to tap out because Amir frustrated me beyond belief, and it was your turn. So there wasn't a time where I ever felt like I'm pulling all the weight with the family and you're not helping. That was never.
So let's fast forward, because the times you're talking about, the kids are younger. They're now adults, right? But even in recent history, and when I say balancing family time, there's times when we're on travel, like we went to your parents' house for the holidays.
Yeah.
And
that was bad.
And you're sitting there. You say you're there, but you're not really there.
I know.
Like you're at the dining room table.
I still think about that.
Full on
working
for the holiday.
And it was Thanksgiving. It was a Black Friday event I was working on, and I really, I hadn't been to California in over 10 years. And so for me to be so engulfed in what I was doing, and even having daily conference calls about it, and then working through the day. I even think I worked the night before. I worked the night of Thanksgiving because it was Black Friday sale. So it was just, I walked away from, I was extremely stressed out. I remember my dad put a blood pressure thing on me, and my blood pressure was in the red. Mm-hmm. He was like, that's a problem. Yeah, I would never do that again.
I think my key takeaway from that is that most people, some part of the time, never all on, all off, use that as a badge of honor. The amount of time that they work, or the fact that I can or will put in that much time, and self-consciously, it even serves as a self-sabotage, because they feel like they have to feel it. Like I have to, if I don't feel it, then I'm not really working. And so they keep themselves systemically in a position where they always have to be
always busy.
They're always in first gear.
Yeah.
And you've got to watch out for that, because you've got some of that.
I've learned that. I hope that you would be probably a better judge of that than me. But I believe that I've gotten better with that over time. I used to be the person who worked, not every weekend, but a lot of weekends where the weeks would run together. I would work till 10, 11, 12, 1. I remember working with my client. She and I were going back and forth 3 o'clock in the morning. I just didn't have any boundaries, because I believed that I want to be the person who's always there whenever you need me. And I did get burnt out. You get to a point when you hit that wall of, I can't keep this up. That is the lesson. But when you come out of it, you create these boundaries. So I have clients that'll say, hey, listen, can we get on a call at 7 o'clock? And I'm like, nope, not going to happen. I can do it on Monday at, 10 o'clock in the morning, or 9:30's pushing it, but I can make it. But I've learned how to do better at protecting my time.
Yeah.
I just sometimes, as your kids get older, you have a little bit more of it, because like you said, you're no longer going to the games, or the graduation, or whatever it is. The things that used to stop you in the middle of the day, you're no longer doing those because they're grown now. But yeah, I've definitely gotten better, I think, at protecting my time.
I think you have. And number one, I always believe that no is respected more than yes. Not saying no for no's sake,
right,
but no because it is the right answer. And too many times when you're trying to get started, or when you're starting with a new relationship, you try to bend, but that's the wrong move. That might be an instinct, but that's the wrong move. The right move is to be really good at what you do, to be really focused on making sure that you're good at what you do and professional, and having those boundaries that say, when I'm inbounds, I'm all the way in,
Right.
and I'm going to do exactly what I promised. And when I'm out, I'm out.
All the way out.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I think you have gotten better with that. And there's another hurdle that's at our feet right now along those same lines, which is you have to scale. You have to figure out
That's the hardest
the
thing for
parts
me
to
for
let go.
years.
You have to let go and at the same time grow. And so that'll be an interesting thing that we'll have to keep a wet edge on in the conversation. So that'll be good. Right?
Yep.
All right. Very good.